Acton in Focus is brought to you by Enterprise Bank.
Welcome to Acton in Focus. I'm Vivian Kopsinger-Birchall, your host, and my special guest is Miss Kathleen Stryker, who has given me permission to call her Kat Stryker, from the town of Acton. She's in the Human Resources Department, and we'll get to know more about her. But first, Kathleen, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. It's great to have HR here talking about, the things we love to hear, jobs, opportunities, what's available with the town of Acton. But before we dive into the details, could you please share with us who you are, how long you've worked in HR, and what you do with the town?
So I'm Kat Stryker. I work in Town of Acton Human Resources as the Talent Acquisition Specialist HR Officer. And that very long title means I'm the person who looks at all of the people who apply for jobs. I am the one who works on the job postings, works with our departments on making sure that they can get the best candidates possible for their jobs. And I'm with candidates all the way through the interview process up until they are hired. And I'm the person who greets them on their first day, gives them all their paperwork, and gets them guided and brought in on the town on the best foot forward.
How long have you been doing this work?
I've been in this position for 3.5 years now here with the town of Acton, but I also worked in Florida previously in county government where I did a little bit of this same work. It was more like HR generalist, but I got a taste for it then as well. And I have a background with training where I worked for the Walt Disney Company for 7 years in Florida previously before that, where I was a trainer. And I would be the bright, bubbly person who would greet all of the new cast members as they join the Walt Disney World Resort and would train them on their position. So I would say overall about nearly 15 years. So I've been doing this job.
15 years of experience that is now helping the town of Acton acquire the best talent that is out there. So speaking of which, I think we'll first get into what many people will be interested in before we get into the details of HR. What are some of the current opportunities the town of Acton has?
We have a lot of great opportunities right now. So one of our opportunities is actually Director of Economic and Development, which is a key piece to the town. We're looking for someone in that position. We're also looking for nursing per diem roles, so anyone who's interested or has nursing background, we're looking for that. And also firefighters, paramedics, we're always looking for, police officers as well. And we're even looking for our Department of Public Works temporary truck driver skilled labor at this moment too, which is great. So we have a lot of variety out there right now.
Then as somebody who looks out for talent, if you don't mind going to maybe each giving us a few points, maybe a couple or so, about what you look for candidates for those positions, starting with the Economic Development Director.
Someone who has a background of working within a government style work for sure, and also working with the public and working on planning and developing, and community is really key with that. If they don't have anything where they've worked in community, like a government entity of a job, but working where they're like United Way, things like that, that's really, and someone who's passionate about making change, I think is great too. When you can read within their like resumes and their cover letters that they're passionate about working with people, and change and growth is really important to see too.
All right. So, and then the police and fire?
Someone who has interest in that background is great, even if they don't have the skills, as long as they have, some sort of skill that could help lead them forward. Like for firefighters, having people who have carpentry work is really great because they can know how to help enter a building and take care of things like that. Police officers, people who are dedicated, who are loyal and looking to be a face for the community, because there's a lot of community policing, and wanting to have them be those friendly people and people that we feel safe going to and speaking with as well is important. So that's kind of what I look for in those as well.
And DPW?
DPW is a little bit of, you have to have some certain qualifications, like you have to have certifications, like truck drivers have to have CDLs, which are important. And if you don't have that, where you have a background of working with larger trucks or vehicles, that you can still get the CDL training while you work at the DPW is key too, so you can still have time to get that. But having that key like mechanical brain is important, where they have worked with different types of equipment, different types of trucks, automobiles, and even large scale trucks like 18-wheelers is good too. So,
and then nursing?
Nursing, someone who has a nursing background for sure, because you are working with our elder population within the town. You're going to their homes, you're checking in on them, and answering any questions that they might need. So it's key that you have a nursing background in that, but also that you have worked with that type of population before, I think is important too, that you know how to talk with them, be compassionate with them, and have that bedside manner.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And that has laid a foundation to my next question. As we are people who looking for opportunities, one of the first things we need to do is write applications and submit applications, which include resumes, cover letters, and all that. Based on your experience, what are some of the maybe even let me backtrack a little bit. We are now in an era of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and all that. And oftentimes we have heard of mistakes people make when we use ChatGPT to write all these applications, compose resumes and all that. From your experience, what are some of the trends you have seen? I won't limit you, just what are some of the trends you've seen in terms of people applying these tools to applications, and how can that be a double-edged sword for applicants?
Yeah, I would say it's one of those where AI is a great tool to use if you need a little bit of extra help, of course. But it is that double-edged sword where you have to be careful of, like, you still have to sound like yourself in your resumes and your cover letters. It has to sound like you genuinely. If it starts to sound a little robotic or a little like, it's kind of like how teachers used to do with like plagiarism and things like that, with like citations of your papers in college, where it has to still sound like you. So you can use the tool for sure to help you with your growth and to help you make sure you write the best resume and cover letter that you can, but make sure that it's sounding like you and using your own words. Like, use it to kind of give you an example and to then base off of that how you want it to sound. Because like, a lot of people do fall into the problem where they will use it and they will keep reusing it, but then they don't change like company names, they don't change like the job, and it's some of those that you find you go, oh, okay, but it's human error when we do that, and it's okay. But make sure you are being yourself. The computer isn't always going to know you. You know you. You know how you sound, and you know why you want that job. And showcase that in your resume and your cover letter. And even if you don't have a cover letter, because we ask for cover letters, and I know a lot of other places don't necessarily, but we love seeing them because I like to read them to see why you're passionate about the job, why you're interested. Give us that piece of you, because that will really sell you to us, and why I specifically look for people. I'm like, you really are interested in this, so.
And so what are some of the, again, the mistakes that many people make when we're applying for jobs that is not related to AI?
Yeah.
But overall.
I would say not giving enough background on your previous positions, I think, is a big first kind of common mistake everyone makes. You will have different things that people will tell you of how to write your resume. I'm a big person on have at least 4 bullet points and explain the basics of what your job was that you did and relate it to the job you're applying for as well. The other most common mistake I see people make is putting jobs that aren't necessarily relevant to the position. And I would say if you have a lot of different jobs in your background, which I think is great, I think the more experience you get, the better. That's awesome, but try to like put those under like other related jobs, and jobs like put them in different categories, like jobs that relate to this job and jobs that are other jobs, and you can put those in there as well. I think the other mistake I see the most common is that people are a little scared to sell themselves. I go back to that a little bit because it's like, sell yourself, tell us about yourself, tell us like even your fun skills. Like, I love learning what's a hidden talent that you have, because you never know, that could come in handy in what you're doing. So really sell yourself and talk about yourself. And I think those, as long as you can follow those key like 3 things for me, I think you would never hit those mistakes. You'd miss those mistakes.
All right, so this is a great segue into the other part of HR that you mentioned, or the part about your work, where you work with the employee after being employed. So can you briefly flesh out what that means? Like, what does your role do, or how do you support these employees through the years that they are with the town?
Yeah, so as soon as you get hired on, I'm the person that they keep in contact with throughout their background checks, all of that pre-employment stuff you have to do, and then once you start, I'm the one who has that orientation with them. I talk to them about what our benefits are and what our other things that we offer, like employee recognition, our wellness initiative committee, which is really great for employee like mental health and physical health. We talk about all those pieces together in the orientation. And then I kind of try, if I have the time with them, depending on what their schedule is for the day, I try and show them a little bit around town hall to be like, this is all the departments that in case you ever need to come, this is where you're at. And then once they're started, I always tell them you can always email me or the human resources department, because my colleagues and I all answer the same general email.
Yeah.
And they can always contact us if they have any questions about anything or if they're interested in anything. And we're there for them. I think that's the thing, is we are really there for the people. And I like to be there for everyone even after their first day, whenever they have those questions.
Awesome. So is there anything we haven't talked about your role that you'd like to tell our viewers?
Sure. I would say the thing that we try our best is to make sure that we provide the best people for the town. And we want to make sure, because our community is so important to us, and that we hear them and we know that they are passionate about the community as well. So I really try and make an effort to bring the best that we can to bring it to the town, and that whatever we're doing is we're doing for them. And the same goes to our employees. We try to do the best we can for them. I talked to our wellness committee because we want to make sure everyone is mentally well, physically well, emotionally well. So we do a lot of different classes, lunch and learns, and activities to help boost morale too throughout the time, so we can be the best we can be for our citizens.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because sometimes, on social media you hear chatter people complaining about, town staff, and I think it's great to remind everyone in our community that people are out there to help improve the town, to make it a livable town. And so we want to thank you all for the work that you do as community members. Yay, Acton. And
Thank you.
Yeah, is there anything that we've left out?
No, I think we've actually covered everything pretty well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
No, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here to share about talent acquisition for the town. And I think if people want to reach out to you, what's the best contact?
They can reach out about any information about jobs at hr@actonma.gov. It'll go to me and it'll go to my colleagues, and that's the best way they can reach out. Ask about job postings and we'll tell them everything. And always keep an eye on our website. We keep that job page updated as much as we possibly can. And our social media accounts, we're posting our jobs on there as well to try and keep active with everybody so that there's the best places they can see it. So.
Well, Kat, it's a pleasure hosting you. And to our viewers, don't fear to reach out to HR department, hr@actonma.gov. And you can also visit their website, actonma.gov. But for now, thank you for watching. Till next time.